Now, it just wouldn't be spring if I didn't review this classic from Creed, Green Irish Tweed. Hello everybody, it's Bradley back. Thank you for stopping by on the channel Tripleinc. Today will be all about Green Irish Tweed, a classic release from the House of Creed, probably among one of their most popular. This has reached pretty much legendary status now in the YouTube fragrance community. Right alongside Aventus, it is probably one of their top sellers. Believe it or not, this was released all the way back in 1985 and has since spawned many wannabe clones, including Coolwater, Trading the Wheat, Shea Bond, the list can go on and on. And this has always been thought of as sort of like the entry-level niche fragrance. Many of those people who are just starting to get into fragrances and want to sort of step their game up to the niche world, this is often considered the first one that you should go out and buy. So let me show you what you're going to be looking at in terms of the presentation. Gorgeous Creed presentation as normal. We'll start off with this box. It is very, very nice, fits nice in the hand, it's stamped, looks really, really good. Has a nice texture to it. You have Creed Green Irish Tweed with that felt fabric up front. Information on the bottom as well. Everything just looks really, really nice. And of course you're going to have your standard Creed cards that give you a little bit of a backstory behind the brand. And with the bottle, this is indeed the 4-ounce bottle. This is their classic matte black bottle. I think it looks very nice, very sort of understated. You're going to have information on the bottom. This is actually from the generation of Creed where the caps stay on. Creed logo on top. Everything just looks really, really nice, very well polished, and I really enjoy the presentation. Alright, so Creed Green Irish Tweed only contains 5 notes. Up top we have lemon verbena and iris. In the mid we have the violet leaf, and in the base we have sandalwood and the classic Creed ambergris. Now, many people have called this springtime in a bottle, like a walk through an Irish countryside. That is how Creed describes this fragrance, and straight off the top, I definitely get that. Right away, what comes at you is something that is very natural, crisp, clean, and green. This sort of smells like fresh cut grass in the opening with a slight watery appeal, I think from the ozonicness from the violet leaf. Also has the lemon verbena just for a touch of this green citrusy note in there. A slight little bit of soapiness, but definitely behind that you get this sort of a musky, slightly woody vibe. That ambergris is really, really nice in here. And that muskiness is only going to become more apparent as this fragrance dries down. This smells just absolutely timeless, very classic. You know, this smelled great when it first was released, smells great now, and will continue to smell great far into the future, just really for the ages, a scent for the ages. I definitely see this more as a gentleman's scent, a guy that has a very refined personality I think would pull this off very, very nicely. It just smells very classic, very sort of upscale, and just very nice and sharp and sophisticated. While this was released in 1985, it still smells modern even today, which I think is a really big feat to pull off. I get a lot of this green sort of ozonic violet leaf in here. To me, that's one of the main notes that I get, and it does just really remind you of this fresh, grassy sort of a spring feeling. Very simplistic, yet very well done. And again, a lot of people say this is compared to Coolwater, right? But I have so much more appreciation for this now than I used to have, because obviously I picked myself up a bottle of this, and since my nose has developed a little bit, I've really come to appreciate this more than Coolwater. Just so much more natural. The ambergris, the dry down has much more of a transition to it and just beautifully blended. This fragrance is masculine, but it's not like super aggressive coming at you type of a masculinity. It just kind of sits back and does its own thing, which I really like. This fragrance is very easy to like I said, fresh to the core all the way from the top to bottom, and it does conjure up images of sort of what I would imagine an Irish countryside to look like. So in terms of a smell, I'm going to give GIT a 4 out of 5. This is really beautifully blended from top to bottom. You can tell a lot of time and a lot of effort went into curating this one. I think it is an absolute must-try for the spring season. Okay, now let's go with the performance. This definitely has a nice performance to it. It is very adequate in this department, especially for a fresh fragrance. I think it will be satisfactory for all your performance needs. For me, it generally gets around 6 to even 9 hours sometimes longevity. That ambergris dry down does last quite a long time, and also this is very good in the projection department for at least 3 hours. This could be a room filler if you're not careful on the trigger. Many other Creed fragrances don't last so long, so don't think that this is one of them where you can just spray on tons of sprays. This could be a room filler. So I would only recommend 3 sprays with Green Irish Tweed. Performance is way better than Coolwater, hands down. And I think you'll be satisfied with the performance of this one. I'm going to score it a 3.5 out of 5. Definitely one of the stronger, fresh, warm weather offerings from Creed. Much stronger than Virgin Island Water or Millesime Imperial. Okay, now let's go with the Versatility. This, as the name would suggest, green is a very green fragrance, and I think for that works great for the springtime, but also could be worn in the summertime. But to me, just it smells like that lawnmower grass vibe. Yeah, and it just really works best for the springtime, but really any occasion that you can pretty much think of in the springtime. This is perfectly at home, suited up on a gentleman that's very classy. I think this is another Swiss Army knife from Creed alongside Aventus. Again, this is great for the workplace, for the office, dressed up formal, but at the same time I think can be dressed down casually. Just a really good Swiss Army knife. I wouldn't recommend this in the clubs, I don't think, because it's not really what you're looking for. It's not a very loud fragrance that's going to be attention grabbing, and there are better options, more seductive options for a date. But anything else in between, especially for warmer weather, this is a great one. I think it can be worn definitely by any age because it is modern, but for some reason I find this to be best, I think, on a guy who's maybe middle-aged and is definitely settled down in life. So for versatility, this is going to score a really good 4.5 out of 5. There's a reason why a lot of people consider this a great niche level fragrance to go check out if you're just getting in the niche, because it can work for pretty much any occasion. Definitely signature scent worthy and really an all-star in the spring season. Okay, now let's go straight to the compliment factor. I'm just going to say it right now. I have gotten more compliments from Coolwater over Green Irish Tweed. That has always been the big thing with this one. Coolwater smells very similar to it, and you know, I have gotten more compliments with Coolwater over this, and even sometimes people have asked me, are you wearing Coolwater when I'm wearing this? And that's just like a big insult, like a boom, like a sock in the gut, you know, that just hurts because this is so much more expensive. It's the sad fact of things, you know, I wish things were different, but since Coolwater has come along and all these flankers, I'll get to that in the value category really quickly of which one I think you should own. However, this one, you know, has got me maybe one compliment that I can think of off the top of my head, but still nothing really too crazy. Of course, no bad compliments, just not really that many unsolicited compliments in my wearing, so I'm only going to score the compliment factor a 2 out of 5. There are definitely better offerings from the House of Creed if you're looking solely for compliments. I'm looking at you, Aventus. And let's go with the value category. This is a quite expensive fragrance, right? It is Creed. I wouldn't pay retail. You can find this pretty easily on discount websites. I will link that down below. You can find this pretty easily for mid 150s around there for the full 4-ounce bottle, which I think is a pretty good deal, but at the same time, you got Coolwater, which is so much cheaper. Which one should you go for? If you are a hardcore fragrance collector, this is definitely worth owning. If you're just an average guy who likes to smell great, Coolwater, I think, is the way to go. So with that, the value is only a 2.5 out of 5. You got to choose this on your own of which one you should go with. Since I like collecting fragrances, I really appreciate the scent of this. That's why I picked it up. Time to give Green Irish Tweed a final rating. My final rating for this cologne will be an 8 out of 10. A timeless gentleman's cologne that has stood the test of time. That is really what I think of whenever I think of Green Irish Tweed. So nice, just embodies the springtime vibe that I get. I'm glad I picked this one up. It has nice performance, beats out Coolwater in performance and smell in my opinion. Unfortunately, there is a pretty large price gap, price differentiation, if you will, between the two, and you really gotta decide, choose wisely if you want this or Coolwater. If you're a collector, I think you can own both, but if you're just an average guy, I would say pick one or the other. So that was my review of Green Irish Tweed. Let me know what you think about this awesome scent from Creed in the comments section down below. If you've tried it, if you want to try it, tell me all about that. So I'll hopefully see you back on my channel sometime soon with another video. If you're new to my channel, what is up? Thank you for dropping by. Please subscribe for some more fragrance content. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of this little spring morning that we got going on here, and I will hopefully see you back again sometime very, very soon. Peace.